Hey yo, this is Dash, and yeah. So I did that video a couple days ago of me driving the mistress home with the vertical smoker that I got from Kirk. Well, excuse me, I bought from Kirk and then went and picked it back up. So as I'm getting in the car, I am going to pick up my kids from school. Oh yeah, almost every time I go out the driveway, I scrape, which is why I can't put my car any lower for those who have asked. All right, so I wanted to show you a couple things because I had people ask. Wait a second. All right, so I told you guys the other day that I spend a lot of time driving in my car. The most current, or I guess the reason now as to why I'm driving so much is because I drop off my kids to school and pick them up from school every day, which involves me driving from the southwest tip of Baltimore to the northeast tip of Baltimore, damn near. I drive, if you want to look at a map and see where this is. So I live just inside of the Baltimore city limits, right by Catonsville. Here, maybe I'll put a map up. Right by Catonsville. And I drive to Overley, the Overley section of the city, which is clear across town. So I do a lot of driving. I put almost 100 miles a day on my car, driving back and forth just from dropping my kids off to school, driving back home, leaving from home, and picking up my kids. But the reason I'm doing this video is because I had people ask me about the camera mount or the setup that I had in my car that allowed me to film the way that I did. Back in the day, or I guess a while ago, I used to do Don't You Hate It When videos. And if you wanted to go back, you can go back and look at a Don't You Hate It When video. But it was basically like, don't you hate it when you walk out of the house and you forget your cell phone? But the problem is you're walking into work when you realize you've forgotten your cell phone. Yeah, so it would be those, quick don't you hate it when moments that I would talk about that everyone can relate to. And yeah, all right. So before I get in too deep with me driving and get on the highway and such, first, again, the reason I brought this out here was to show you my camera mount. So what I did was I went into a Best Buy one day and I found this suction cup mount thing, and I tried to put it up like on the window to be able to point out at it, out of the front of the window, but it wasn't strong enough. And crap, there's traffic today. It wasn't strong enough. So what I ended up having to do was I just bent it down over on itself, and it sits, pretty much perfect. So at this point, and then one of the other things I have in my car is this cell phone mount. And if you don't know by now, I do a lot of driving for my business, and with that driving for my business, I use my phone as a GPS. So this mount, sorry about the sun, it mounts right into the CD changer, and boom, it sits right there. Here, let me get my phone out of my pocket. And yeah, so I don't think I've ever talked about this, but see this dot here and the accompanying cracks? Well, one of the last times I was at Kirk's house, look at this asshole right here. Seriously, dude? Time for the Brody Squad to come on out. You're not getting over there, asshole. All right, so one of the last times I was at Kirk's house, I was welding, and typically I weld, hey, look, there I am. I weld with a shirt that has a closed pocket or a flap over the pocket in the on the front of the shirt. And this particular time I was welding, and this was if you follow me on Instagram, this is when I was making the basket for the vertical smoker when I brought it home the first time. Anyway, I had a piece of weld spatter jump up in my pocket, and you can see it hit the screen and cracked the screen. So yeah. All right, well, as you can plainly tell, I don't have any boost right now because the car isn't warm. You see the temperature gauge, it's actually getting warm. And the current mileage is 250,210. Gosh. Yeah. When it's cold out, it's difficult. So as soon as the car warms up, I'll turn it off and turn it back on, and typically it'll keep in boost. I was having such a difficult time. I meant to say this in the last video, or the video you saw. I was having such a difficult time the last time because of the fact that it was under load, and you know, with that smoker, that was probably about 2,000 pounds I had on the back of the car, and it didn't particularly care for it. All right, so I'm back. Hopefully, I'm in frame. The bad part about this is I don't have a viewfinder, so I can't exactly tell what or where you can see when I put you on the mount. I used to be able to zoom in a little bit, and I kind of figured out when or what percentage I need to zoom in, but because of the fact that my little point and shoot lives in my pocket, it gets banged around. Usually I have on cargo pants, and it sits in my right pant leg, and it gets banged around to the point where the zoom doesn't work anymore. I really need a new camera, but just can't afford to buy one. But I would love to get a new one, and like I went and looked at one the other day, and I saw, you know, nice, and I don't know what it is, but I think I have a thing for Sony cameras. I just like the Sony cameras, though I don't really like much else from Sony. But the little point and shoot Sony cameras are what I've had for a while. This one that I'm using is my second or third actual Sony CyberShot, you know, point and shoot camera. And the one I looked at was like $400, and yeah, you know, I think it had all the bells and whistles. It probably shot like 20 megapixels, and it definitely shot 1080p and everything like that, 60 frames per second, which is what I'm used to filming in or with. So, but the reason I wanted to show you this is because you've already seen how I have things set up in my car. And shout out to Jerry Batista, because he does the same thing, only a little different. I watch a lot of YouTube from my car, and unfortunately I know I shouldn't admit that, but I do. Because of the fact that I'm in my car typically 2 to 3 hours a day, Jerry, you know, coined the phrase, or he was one of the first people that I heard say this, YouTube University. And the whole thing is, I sit and I'll put my headphones in, or I'll just turn everything off. Like right now, there's nothing on in the car. Damn, shut up. Accident. But there's nothing on in the car, but sometimes the videos are too quiet. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll listen to, or I will listen to, and I don't particularly watch all the time. More or less, I'm focused on listening to what the person is saying. But I'll watch a lot of welding videos. I watch typically Jerry's video in the morning if it comes out early enough, like on my way home. I'll watch Kirk's videos if I'm in the car and one of Kirk's videos pops up and I get the notification that Kirk has a new video. I'll watch that. There's Chucky 2009, you know, shout out to Chucky 2009, like he's ever gonna see this or anyone will tell him about this video. But I'll watch, you know, his videos again, welding. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I've watched recently. TJ Hunt, I don't know why or how I found his channel. Actually, I think it was the dude in blue, so David Patterson. I think they had a meetup. I think it was like Dr. M3, TJ Hunt, and David Patterson did a little meetup, and then I found out who each of them were. And honestly enough, I think I like TJ Hunt more than Dr. M3, only because TJ Hunt is a little more relatable, I guess you could say. Anyway, but the whole deal is I'll watch YouTube videos from my phone in the car, and if I don't have it just playing, I'll have my headphones on. Like if I have my sons with me, again, I'm not watching the video. It's down and to the right, you know, out of eyesight for the most part. But I'm just listening to what the person is saying. Typically, if somebody's installing something or building something or making something, they're typically talking about, you know, they're talking more about what they're doing as opposed to just being silent and you seeing what's happening. So the description is saying or happening, and you know, I find it pretty educational for me to, you know, like as opposed to listening to music, or I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks, I tend to have YouTube on in the background basically. One of the other advantages for me is I can have music on for my kids, and I'll have my headphones on, you know, the noise cancellation headphones, and I can still hear what's being said in the video. I'm trying to think who else. Eric the Car Guy is another one that I watch pretty frequently. Philip DeFranco. Who else do I watch? Oh, Shia. I don't know if she, you know, not like she gonna put out a video or anything, but she hit me up this morning. I would love to see another, you know, Shia TV video, you know, cause I'm just saying, as I always do. And if you find out who Shia is and look up Shia TV, you'll understand that whole tagline. But I'm trying to think who else or what else I do while I'm in the car, aside from listening to music. So back to my commute, more or less. So if you guys don't know already, I do barbecue full time. But it, you know, when it's slow, and when I'm not doing as much, I'm not doing as much. But my wife is still working, and she just got a new job down in Rockville, Maryland, which is about an hour south of Baltimore. With that being said, she used to take our kids to school. She used to take our sons to school, and I would take my daughter to school and or daycare, whichever she was going at the time. And now, because of the fact that my wife is working in Rockville, she can't take my sons to school anymore because it's on the other side. It's totally out of her way. So now I get to drive across town 4 times a day. I mean, it's cool. It allows me, you know, the fact that I'm doing barbecue and she's able to take care of the household right now, and it allows me time to be able to be there at my kids' school when they need me. You know, if one of them gets sick, or if they have an event, or like, you know, some sort of program or play or something like that, I can be there at the school. But, you know, it means that when I'm cooking, I have to make sure that my cook is finished by 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's a lot of, you know, me making sure that I start early enough, or whatever I'm cooking isn't a very long cook, so that I can make sure I'm done by 7 in the morning and start resting everything for by the time I have to take my kids to school. Then by the time I come back home, everything is rested, and I can cut everything up, slice it up, you know, bag it up, you know, whatever I have to do to it, and get it out, you know, for catering events and things like that. So it's one of those things where it's a mixed blessing at this point. So, but yeah. So I commute more just picking up my kids to and from school than most people commute in a week sometimes. It'd be awesome if I didn't have to go across town 4 times a day, but, you know, such is life. It happens. To make sure that our kids are going to a decent school, this is the school we chose, or school we got into, and it's a good school, so we you know, we do what we have to do as parents. You know, if you're not a parent, or you'll learn that there are things that you sacrifice for your kids to make sure that they have a better life. Enough about that. So let's talk more about this commute. So I guess by now you kind of figured that every now and again I'm just gonna pick up the camera and start talking. I don't know why or how, or you know, no set direction or no set anything, but you know, this is more like a vlog type style video, and if you want to stay for it, stay for it. If not, then it's just. But no, I figure maybe once a week I will do something like this, just to keep you updated as to what's going on with my life, like you really care. But first thing about blogging, when you have no direction, you say but and butterum and other things like that a lot, I'm finding, and this is only like the first one I've done in a really long time. So like that noise you just heard was a video, was a notification for whatever reason. Jaco whatever is his name and YouTube channel. I don't know how I found his channel. I guess because of the fact that he does welding. This dude's stuff is like crazy. His production and the things that he builds are just ridiculous. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and you can finish watching me drive to my kid's school, and I'll speed it up and do a time lapse. Put my headphones on and, you know, watch and listen to this video that he just put out. I don't even know what it is. Let's see if I can find out what it is real fast. A shop tour of a maker. Oh, a shop tour of a maker. It says be organized, and it's 8 minutes long. It'll probably take me about 10 minutes to get to my kid's school from where I am now currently. You can kind of still hear my voice is still a little messed up. From what I found out, when that last video I did was shot a day or two before New Year's, New Year's Day. I ended up going to the doctor on New Year's Eve, and I found out that I might have had bronchitis. So I was on my second round of antibiotics because I did go to the doctor before, and he put me on a second round of antibiotics, and I seem to be doing better. The thing that was wrong was I got a cold and I was coughing and all of those things, and then the cough, because I was coughing I guess as much, excuse me, it developed into a very sore throat. Like I couldn't swallow basically without it hurting. So that took me to go to the doctor. When I went to the doctor, he's like, oh, you know, you probably just have a really bad cold, you know, some sort of sinus infection. And so he gave me something for my nose, like a Flonase, and some sort of, you know, general antibiotic. And my sore throat got better, but the cough came back. So because the cough came back about a week after starting the antibiotics and stuff like that, my sore throat came back. So finally, it was about another week or so went by, and I was like, all right, look, I can't take it. And I called the doctor again, and I went in to see the doctor, and like I said, he gave me a second round of antibiotics. And so far, so good. But my voice isn't, I'm still not 100%, point blank. So again, as promised, I'm gonna flip you around in a second. things I didn't say, I'm driving around the Beltway. So usually when I take my kids to school, I go up 95 through the tunnel, but just can't afford to go through the tunnel every day, twice or 4 times a day. So when I drive to school, I go the fastest way, which is up through the tunnel. And then when I come home, I drive through the city. And then usually when I drive to pick them up, I go around the Beltway the opposite way, which is no toll. And then when I pick them up, I drive through the city. So yeah, hence the almost 100 miles per day. All right, time lapse starts now.